is. Let me fix this so that we've got the sound coming through on.
Clearly better, demonstrably better than we were right at the start of the pandemic. My best tip is don't get the condition in the first place. The treatments aren't all powerful, and so all the important information you get about social distancing, wearing a mask, washing hands remains critically important. We don't have cures, but we've got much better treatments than we did have.
And we did hear in recent weeks that, you know, the nursing care doctors were having to look after more patients than they normally would in intensive care. We've had the news about overall NHS waiting lists. The NHS is still incredibly stretched, isn't it?
It's very loud.
It is. I mean, the waiting list thing is a tragedy. As a doctor working at NHS, I don't have a simple solution to that one. But it is a tragedy, and it is absolutely awful for those who are stuck on waiting lists, waiting for treatment they undoubtedly need.
They have a Twitch chat. I
absolutely get that. But that said, given what the NHS has had to cope with over the past year, you can kind of see why it's occurred. I think dealing with that as an issue has got to be part of our national plan when we get beyond the worst of the COVID crisis. But I think it's just going to take some time.
Okay, Dr. Graham Burns, thank you so much for your time today. Very good to speak to you. Now, Democrat prosecutors in Donald Trump's impeachment trial have been showing new footage of the attack on Capitol Hill. They've accused Mr. Trump of acting as inciter-in-chief in the run-up to the violence. Well, the former president's lawyers deny the claims. Our Washington correspondent Barbara Petashel.
Democrats used chilling new security video to reconstruct what happened during the riot, forcing senators to relive that traumatic day. This was a key part of a sweeping narrative against the former president laid out by the prosecution.
Donald Trump surrendered his role as commander-in-chief and became the inciter-in-chief of a dangerous insurrection.
And to use a favorite term that all of you people really came up with, we will stop the steal.
Democrats argued that Mr. Trump spent months constructing a big lie to make his supporters believe the election was stolen. And he used fighting words when he knew some of them were armed and would fight.
Donald Trump, over many months, cultivated violence, praised it, and then when he saw the violence his supporters were capable of, he channeled it to his big, wild, historic event.
Just
the video
now.
showed how close the mob got to officials. The former
I
Vice
did.
President Mike Pence being rushed to safety. Senator Mitt Romney turning around in his tracks. It was a compelling case told with emotional appeal and one that touched hearts in the Senate, although not necessarily minds. Many Republican senators seem unwilling to be convinced that Donald Trump is guilty. But the Democrats are also aiming at a broader audience watching from home, hoping to hold Mr. Trump to account in the court of public appeal. Barbara Washington.
Now, First Minister of Northern Ireland, Eileen Foster, has accused the Vice President of the European Commission of having his head in the sand over Brexit talks.
That's just wrong.
A 2-year extension.
You see the one with this whole mask?
Some checks to give businesses more time to adjust.
Bella's got it.
Which seems to rule out changes until the Northern Ireland Protocol is fully implemented. Let's find out a bit more about what all this means. With me is Chris Morris, reality check correspondent. Chris, just give it a background. This is quite complex.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to something we've talked about so much between 2016 and 2020, and that is the Northern Ireland border. And of course, the desire on both sides to keep the land border between Northern Ireland and the UK and the Republic of Ireland in the EU as open as it is now. And if you're going to do that and you're not going to have any checks on that border, once the UK had left the EU. You needed some kind of check somewhere for goods entering the EU customs
25%
union
of the
single market.
single,
So the way that was agreed between the two sides was to have a border of sorts down the Irish Sea, where there are checks
What?
on certain
25%
products
of the single,
in terms of
very
food and animal
kit.
products,
Bavarian kit.
declarations for things going into Northern Ireland from Great Britain. And that's been the subject of enormous disquiet in Northern Ireland.
Let's
and it's
see what
been
we
very,
can do
very
here,
difficult for
guys.
businesses.
Tell us more about what the checks are.
Turn this up.
So, I mean, there have to be customs declarations for goods going from Great Britain into Northern Ireland, not in the other direction. Now, that is something which is difficult for big retailers. It also has to apply to small retailers. Amazon Marketplace, for example, has told its customers that they will have to have customs declarations if they're sending things to Northern Ireland from April. Then there are checks on products, if you like, going into the single market. So that's particularly strict for things like food and plant products. There needs to be documentary inspections and some physical checks on products as well. There are some grace periods for supermarket goods, for meat and medicines, for parcels, but some of those grace periods only last for 3 months. And of course, we're into February already, so we're into month 2. And the UK is asking the EU, we want this grace period extended all the way to 2023. The EU has responded, well, that's all very well, but you're not even implementing the checks, the more limited checks, which are supposed to be in place at the moment correctly. So that's, I think, going to be a bone of contention.
So, what prospects of some agreement being reached on these talks?
Well, it's all about the Northern Ireland Protocol, which is part of the Brexit withdrawal agreement. And, you know, it's been complicated by the row which broke out late last month about vaccines, when the EU suddenly announced it was going to revoke Article 16 of the Northern Ireland Protocol, which says either side can take unilateral action if they think the protocol is causing serious difficulties. Now, that announcement was very rapidly reversed, but it caused an enormous loss of trust. There's also concern about security issues. The protocol is enormously unpopular among unionist leaders in Northern Ireland, who do see it creating barriers within the UK between Great Britain and Northern Ireland. Graffiti has appeared on walls against the protocol, and workers at the ports of Belfast and Larne, where some of the checks were taking place, were withdrawn for a few days because of security concerns. But that work has now resumed, and the Chief Constable has said there is no direct threat against them. But it is a sign of the supreme sensitivity that all this has caused. And these are all the issues which Mr. Gove and Mr. Shevkovich will be talking about when they meet later today. I think from the British side, there's going to be a message: this needs to change and change fast. You need to show more flexibility. The EU side will be saying, we will show flexibility, but you have to live up to what you signed up to only a couple of months ago.
The unfolding reality of Brexit. Chris Morris, thank you so much. Thank you. It's very, very cold outside, that is for sure. Let's find out more on the weather. Here's Matt Taylor.
Hello. Very few were immune from the widespread and sharp frost this morning, but coldest of all was Braemar in Aberdeenshire. Coldest morning here in the UK since 1995. And it's still cold out there, but for many, a dry and sunny afternoon. There will be a few showers around in the far northeast of Scotland, and today more clouds towards the southwest Wales and eventually Northern Ireland. Sunshine a bit hazy in places, in fact picking up, but some small flurries across Devon, Cornwall and Pembrokeshire at times. The wind picking up here to an added wind chill. Further east, maybe not as cold as it has been, but it's still going to be a very chilly day nonetheless. Into tonight, we see showers return a bit more widely across eastern Scotland. Some snow then spreads into Northern Ireland for a time, and still quite windy across the west. Temperatures with that increased breeze won't be as low as they have been, but we could still drop down to around -10, -11 across the western half of the Highlands. So into Friday, it's going to be a cold day. This weekend, though, signs of the Atlantic taking over, but that could bring some snow and some freezing rain. Keep updated. Here we are. Click, click. Let's do this. Zip it up. Activate it. Click, click. Let's go.
Oh, this is cool. How good is Facebook?
Click that.
Data.
YouTube Zoom.
Microsoft Teams. How connected to this phone file?
Wireless 4G network on the moon. That sounds great.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Sorry about that, guys.
That was quite bizarre. What are you doing, Belle's watching YouTube? Oh, that was the biggest fun.
Your weekly tech update. Play Saturday and Sunday at 12:30 on the BBC News Channel.